go. They're wondering, when are you coming home?
Yeah. I don't think the older kids care anymore.
I know that feeling. That's why I got a dog. Once they become teenagers, you get a dog to get all the affection.
Yeah.
All right.
The older kids care anymore.
You're live on
That's why I got
lampstand
a dog.
page.
Oh, fantastic. So I think I probably need to turn my volume down, don't I, Pete?
Yeah.
You're live
Can you guys still hear me okay?
lampstand page.
Hear you. I can hear our feedback
That's
also.
awesome.
The echo. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
There you are.
Well, fantastic, Pete. What do we, let me see. We've got some viewers on Facebook still coming in.
I believe so. We got 2 so far.
Okay, I was going to jump over there and kind of see. Let's see what we've got here.
Yeah, it just went live, so it's going to take a couple minutes.
Yeah, so a couple minutes. We'll kind of get going. That'll give me a chance. I'm going to send you this link, Pete, this video that Joe just sent me.
Okay.
And maybe when we get to talking about the making of the ornaments and stuff, you can just share this
Yep.
on here. I think we should be able to push it live.
I'll just screen share it while you guys are talking about it so that it'll be live in both areas.
Okay, I'm
Right.
shooting it to your team's account right now.
Yeah, give it a test to make sure that the link worked okay. Because sometimes there's, from a shared drive, there might be privilege issues, but I opened it up to anybody with the link should be able to play it.
Okay. Yeah. Looks
You
good.
got it?
Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
Love it. That's cool. That is so cool. So
Great.
cool.
Yeah,
I
it's
imagine we-
handy.
Sean, you didn't give your wife the link to the Zoom meeting.
Um,
I'm giving it to her right now.
because
Sean,
I just
you're-
cannot see my wife getting on Zoom, Pete.
Sean, you're in trouble.
I'm just being real honest, guys. Cannot see her getting on Zoom. That'll be a whole different conversation.
Zoom's easy.
You know, she works in the medical field, and so I always laugh at her. I mean, because obviously they got certain, programs they use. But when she gets on a computer, man, she's gonna kill that thing. It's like, I'm like, give that thing a break.
I love it.
So what's the weather like up in New York, Joe?
Well, it was mild for the last couple of days, but it suddenly plummeted today. It actually went into the 20s this morning. So it's fairly cold. It's fairly frosty. Yeah, frosty in the morning. I have to warm up the cars before heading out the door. But I actually couldn't complain too much, though, because the last few days and over Thanksgiving weekend was actually really mild. Was able to get out for a few walks, enjoy the nice 50-degree weather that we were having, which I'm not going to complain about. I'll take that every day.
I think everybody's getting a little bit of a cold spell now with all that stuff coming out of the South.
I know. You know what? If it was up to me, I'd have 1 week of snow during the week of Christmas and then go right back to spring weather again.
There you go. Well, Mary's in California, so she's like, she don't get no snow.
It's
Mary,
been chilly. It's been a chilly 65 and sunny here.
Mary, I'm so jealous.
It's sweater weather
Okay,
here.
Where in California are you?
SoCal, Long Beach, right outside of LA.
I was just there a couple of weeks ago. I was just at Rogers Gardens not too long ago.
Oh, yes, you are. I am 20 minutes from Rogers Gardens. I'll be there on Saturday with a girlfriend.
Well, I had a great time there. It was beautiful weather, and the farmhouse restaurant there is always a delight to enjoy.
Delicious,
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, it's farm to table.
Well, it's one of those trips that my wife came along a few years back, and anytime I go, she's like, "Oh, I'm so jealous you're going there again."
Yes, and Fashion Island right across the street.
Absolutely. It's a great spot.
Yeah, that's my home store. Although, with COVID and everything, it drove everybody to look for online options.
Yep.
Right. And but that's where I got my first Radko 30 years ago, like a million years ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
30
yeah.
years ago. Long time
Yes.
collector.
I was a newlywed with a whole different husband at the time. And the first time, the try-on husband.
Very good. And now, now you got it right. Now you figured it out.
Absolutely. Winner, chicken dinner, big time. So yeah, now, at that time I was in my 20s, you know, younger than I care to admit now, but it was, you saved up for one ornament, you know, it was a big deal. We were house poor and, you know, bought our first home.
Well, we always appreciate our collectors because we know it's an investment, and we also know that one of the things that makes Radko so nice is that, you know, it becomes like a treasured heirloom that,
Oh,
you
for
know,
sure.
you always remember when you got your first Radko or where you were when you bought it. Maybe it was a special occasion or a gift that you got from
Yep.
someone that you care about, or you gave to someone that you care about. And then every time you take it out year after year and you put it up on the tree, you go, oh, I remember when I got this, or I remember who gave this to me. And a lot
Yeah.
of, you know, moms and dads will come in with their kids. And, you know, as the kids, I've seen kids like from when they were like little, like toddlers, and then they are like teenagers and now in their 20s. Cause I've been designing Christopher Radko now for 23 years.
Wow.
And I've actually been able to see a lot of kids grow up right in front of me, not only my own kids, but a lot of our collectors' kids. And they're so much fun to watch because they started with their moms and dads going into the store, and they'd be picking out the ornament for mom and dad. And then the next thing you know, they're coming and getting their own ornaments.
Yes.
And they're saying, oh, yeah, now I have my own place and everything like that. Wow. It's like, and then there's a lot of moms and dads who are saying, oh, I'm buying this for, you know, when they grow up and when they have their own house and everything like that. So it's one of those moments where you kind of reflect on this and go, wow, you know, what I have the privilege and pleasure of doing really touches a lot of people and brings a lot of joy, you know, to people's faces, which is really nice.
Well, Joe, you're a big part of the history on my tree, so thank you for that.
Ah, that's very kind. Yeah, I'm thrilled to hear that. Thank you, Mary.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Well, Joe, do you want to get started?
Sure.
Awesome. So I'm going to mute everybody in the audience, and then once we kind of get going, guys, I will open it up to some people that want to ask some questions to Joe. And then, yeah, we'll kind of do it that way. We're going to kind of keep it somewhat informal and visit a little bit. And then I've got some, again, a bonus that I want to share out to our audience. And then Joe's going to kind of stick around for a little bit, or at least as long as he can. And then we'll go from there. So first off, Joe, I just want to thank you for taking the time. I know you're really busy this time of year, and I can't thank you enough, again, for being so courteous with your time. And I know our audience is just thrilled to have you. And we had a really good turnout with the signed and dated ornaments. And so we're really excited about that. I know a lot of our customers are just ecstatic. So kind of starting that, leading into that, I guess just maybe tell us a little bit. I'm just curious, how did you get interested, or not interested, how did you get involved in designing Christmas ornaments?
It was luck, Sean. It was luck. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I, you know, trained as an artist, went to school of visual arts. Back then, was I thinking I was going to be a Christmas ornament designer? No, I was thinking I was going to be maybe a children's book illustrator, a comic book artist, cartoonist. You know, I'm a teenager going into my early 20s, and, you know, I'm thinking about all these different things I want to do. And so I did that for a while. I freelanced. I did some children's books. I wrote a children's book. I had my own comic strip for a couple of years. And then I found my way into education. I actually became an art teacher for a high school here in New York. And I was teaching high school art when I discovered in the Graphic Artists Guild newsletter an advertisement for a Christmas ornament company looking for an artist. And I'm looking at the ad and I'm like, never really thought about that. Is somebody sitting down designing Christmas ornaments? There's, you know, you see these ornaments and you see them on the trees or you see them in the stores, and you don't really think about who's behind all that. So my wife was, you know, listening to me talking about the ad. My wife goes, well, you should definitely do that. That's perfect for you. That's exactly what you should be doing. And this is why you should always listen to your wife. Because it turned out to be Christopher Radko, and it was the perfect place for me to be. And I'm about to go on 23 years designing Christopher Radko, and I can't believe how lucky I've been that I kind of stumbled into this. You know, I'm so fortunate, and it's the perfect thing for me. It's the perfect marriage for me because I get to do my artwork. I get to draw all these wonderful illustrations and come up with these designs. And in a way, I'm still telling stories, but I'm telling those stories now through the character designs in our ornaments, which was one of the things that Christopher Radko himself, when I first started the company, I was one of Chris's original elves. So I worked with Christopher Radko himself for a few years. And I was one of his elves working behind the scenes because,
Okay.
he would come up with all the ideas and designs that he would like to see come to life, but he really relied on a team of artists to bring them to life for him. And that's where I came in. So I would create the illustrations and designs that eventually became the glass ornaments that you see on your tree.
Okay.
And then when Chris retired and sold the company in 2007, I got the honor of going out and continuing to do the signing events that Chris used to do, and was really happy to be able to carry on the legacy and the style that we developed together, and really thrilled to be still doing it to this day.
That's awesome. So when you think about a lot of I guess some of the designs you come up with, what kind of cues, I guess, do you build off? Do you build off just things that you really, that personally you like, or do you take a lot of your, I guess, cues from what's selling in the marketplace?
Well, Sean, Christopher Radko has a certain look to it that, over time we've said, we don't really follow trends. We like to set trends.
Okay.
Our designs look very special and they're very unique to Christopher Radko. I always find that our collectors, when they come and see Christopher Radko or they see it in a shop, you can spot it from way across, the shop floor. They'll see it on a tree and they'll be like, wow, I knew right away that was Christopher Radko. Nothing else looks like a Christopher Radko ornament. And that's one of the things we, as I'm designing and as we're nurturing each individual piece and bringing it to life and, developing the samples that go on to be made into our product line, we're very careful because we know our customers and our collectors, they expect a certain quality from Christopher Radko. So we like to say we nurture each individual design from beginning to end. So, not only do I get to start the whole process rolling, creating the illustration that eventually goes on to become the sculpt in our factories in Poland. And I follow that sculpt through the process where, I say, okay, that snowman, he looks a little off. I'm going to make some changes to the sculpt and everything like that. Or that Santa face isn't quite right. But once we approve the sculpt, we'll then go ahead and make the mother mold, the master mold, and create a glass sample. That's when they begin the whole glass blowing process. But we follow every step of the way right through the glass sample to make sure that each Christopher Radko piece, every design, looks like a Christopher Radko, what people come to expect our aesthetic to look like. And like I said, we try to do a little something for everyone. Over the 23 years I've been designing Christopher Radko, you were asking, where do you get your ideas and where do you get inspiration? Are we following trends and stuff like that? You never know what's going to inspire you, honestly. Sometimes I'll be walking down the street and I'll see an advertisement in a window, and maybe it's, I don't know, a picture of a postman or a postal worker carrying a bunch of packages. And I said, oh, that pose and the way their expression is, that'd be a real fun piece if that was a Santa Claus. Or maybe I'm reading, at one point I was reading children's book stories to our kids, and I might be reading a story and I said, wow, that gives me a great idea for an ornament. Or, sometimes I'll be talking to collectors. When we go out, again, one of the great things I get to do now is we go out to have signing events, and we're just starting to do our signing events again, post-COVID. I'm glad that we're able to do this Zoom event. But it's really great when we get to talk to our collectors, because the collectors will sometimes, say, hey, I always thought what would be a great idea would be, whatever it would be. And I'd be like, wow, that's fantastic. I love that idea. And you never know, it might actually turn into a Christopher Radko ornament. But you get also a sense of what people enjoy when they come to visit you, and they talk about what they love in the line and what they love to see on their tree and what ornaments have been special to them over the years. And that's what you really want to hear, because you never know what people are really going to like. You just hope that, you do a little something for everyone, and, they find something that's special to them. But, so you find inspiration in lots of different places.
That's
Maybe
awesome.
that answered your question.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Why don't we take a couple minutes? Mary, do you have a question you want to ask Joe? I'm gonna put Mary on the spot here.
Okay, I just unmuted myself. Oh, I totally
Mary.
have questions. Be afraid that you asked that.
No, I think it's awesome. That's why
Let's
we're
see
here.
if I can answer them. Go
Yeah.
for it.
In no particular order. Any plans next year for any drops, balls, or reflectors in the line, or are they be mostly figural?
We used to, I remember we used to do all those beautiful fantasias, and we had lots of drops and those beautiful ornate bowls that were, the traditional Polish glass bowls that you would see on your tree for so many years. We started to get away from that because we did find that there was a lot of other people out there who were kind of doing, the same thing that we were doing regarding bowls and drops. So we tended to want to stay focused on what made us really special, our figural pieces. We felt like that really separated us from the other Christmas ornament manufacturers out there, that our figural pieces were really so detailed and so full of life and great character. But every once in a while, I like to incorporate a bowl or a drop maybe below a figural.
Yes.
Something like where it's a combination of figural up on top, a drop below. Sometimes we do exclusives for people and they request doing drops. I know we've done some charity pieces with hand-painted drops. I do hear a lot of people asking us to do it again, so you never know. We
never know.
May just.
Keep us guessing. I love that. Keep us guessing. Do you want me to ask more questions? Because I've got them, Sean, or I don't want to hog Joe.
Absolutely, Mary. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Any plans to do a new Muffy Vanderbeer in 2023?
Yes, we will definitely do a new Muffy. Every year I know for a while there we were doing maybe 2-3 Muffies a year. Last year, I think maybe this year, we're only going to have one in the line. But what happens is we actually work with North American Bear to produce the Muffies, and those Muffies are actually inspired by pre-existing Muffy bears, the actual stuffed bears. So we really rely on our contact with North American Bear. Barbara, who has been the person we work with from North American Bear since I started at the company. So I've been working with her for 23 years, and she would supply us images of the actual bears to work from. So what we usually do is we let Barbara, be the lead on it. She'll give us some pictures of some Muffy bears that she really likes. And because I believe they've kind of retired that line now, I think that's one of the reasons why we're only probably doing one a year now, because we kind of want to make it last for a while longer, and we kind of rely on what exists already.
I've
Hopefully
been
that answered your question.
I'm a girl for a lot of years, so I'm very excited about that.
Muffy's a lot of fun. I really love Muffy, and I remember Hoppy as well, the rabbit.
I have them both. There's only about a dozen Hoppies, though. There's only about a dozen Hoppies. There's not very many of them.
Many Hoppies. That's right. You're right, Mary. But I actually remember one of the Muffies we did recently, which I was thrilled to do, was this kind of circus clown Muffy, where she had the big tall cone-shaped hat, and she had the 2 different colors for her clown suit and everything like that. Oh, I loved working on that because the pattern that was hand painted on that Muffy was beautifully executed by our factories. one of the things I want to give a little insight to, we talk about like where do you get inspiration from and where you come up with designs and, talking about the Muffy Bears and the pieces themselves. I always say I'm very fortunate to be able to be part of this magical process to create a Christopher Radko ornament. I'm very lucky that I get to be at the design point where I get to create the illustration and dream up what the ornament looks like and get the ball rolling. But it really is such a team effort.
Mhm.
And, when we were just talking about the Muffy and we were talking about the pattern that's on her clown suit, and I was just thinking to myself, we're so fortunate to be working with the artisans in our Polish factories. They're all independently owned workshops over in
Mhm.
Poland that we work with. They're all family run and operated. And they're very proud of the heritage, making the ornaments that's been, passed through generation after generation. And we really do rely on, the skilled craftsmen, the artists, the glass blowers, the artisans that we work with to bring all our ornaments to life. So it's, not only myself, but it's also the sculptors in our Polish factories. It's the glass blowers. And like I said, the wonderful artists who sit and paint each individual ornament by hand. And that's why we always say, no two are exactly alike either. When you look at the nuances between each Christopher Radko design, you'll notice like, maybe the eyes are one way, or, maybe there's a little bit more blush on another, or the way the pattern's done. But you can tell that they're all hand painted. That's what makes them really, really special.
It's absolutely why I love them. Thank you so much for the detailed answer.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Those are awesome.
Sure.
All right.
Happy to give a little insight.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Still hear you,
Awesome.
Sean. Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. I see we've got Arlie on here. Arlie, do you want to ask Joe a question?
Not at the present time, but
Okay.
I'll think as I go along here.
Okay, well, awesome.
Well,
Glad
I'll
to have
say,
you.
I'll say hello to you, Arlie. Hi, Arlie.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
That's good to hear. That's what I like to hear.
We got
Where are you
some people-
calling in from, Arlie? Where's Arlie calling in from?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Oh, you're over
Yeah.
on my side of the country. Okay. Yeah, I'm up here in New York.
Okay. Well, I'll think of some questions for you.
All right, Arlie. Well, thank
Fantastic.
you. How about Carrie? Carrie, I see you've joined us on Zoom. Would you like to ask Mr. Joe Walden a question?
I believe Carrie's having some audio connection issues. at the
Okay.
moment. She's still connecting.
That's all right. Well, I've asked some
Well,
people.
say hello. Hello.
Yeah, say hello. So we've got people watching us on Facebook. We've got some people that joined us on Zoom. Some are just kind of listening. We'll see if there's a few people that ask some questions on Facebook. If they do, we'll feed them into you. This might be a good segue, Joe, I guess. Let me ask you just this one question, just as it relates to where we are, obviously, in kind of the world today with just supply chain. What's been the most difficult thing for Roush Industries, Christopher Radko, if you will, when it comes to being able to deliver product and obviously the designs and getting everything to the finished product? What's been the most difficult part? I guess as we continue, we've got COVID, now we've got the whole post-COVID. Is there anything challenging that we should be aware of?
Well, I think for us, at least as a company, we seem to have weathered the worst already. I think, during the height of COVID, obviously there were tremendous challenges, and, the supply chain issues, as you spoke about, with a lot of containers being stuck out on the water, not being able to get into the shipping yards because of, one factor or another. I do know that that was certainly a concern at one point. At some points, we were even flying in freight just to make sure people would get their ornaments
I'm
in
on
time.
Zoom with that. That's the guy
But,
that, after Christopher.
I think one of the things that we were very fortunate that our team was able to rally together. We have a wonderful team. Again, coming back to the idea that no one person in this company can do this alone. We have a wonderful team in our warehouse, our customer service, from the top down, being able to handle the logistics of dealing with shipping issues, ensuring that ornaments were arriving at our warehouse on time in order to be shipped out to our retailers so our retailers could sell them to our customers. It was a heck of a coordinated effort. And I know through COVID, it was definitely a challenge. I could hear it. I would know there was a lot of late nights spent in customer service and in shipping and in our warehouse staff. Again, we seem to have weathered it. One of the things that's very fortunate for us within this industry, given hard times like what we dealt with the pandemic and dealing with COVID, one thing people always like to have and to rely on is that their home was, a place of love and comfort, and it was well decorated for Christmas. And even though they couldn't get out and maybe see friends, they kind of hunker down and make sure their home is cozy and feels like a place of, warmth. And like I said, love. And, I always felt like Christmas in a way is a bit recession proof, and it seems to be COVID proof as well. We've been very fortunate that when times are tough, people still like to have something, to make them think of the holidays, maybe people that they can't be with in their, to celebrate with, or they're no longer with us. And I know Mary and I were talking at the beginning of this. One of the things that struck me, over the years, and, going through COVID kind of really reminded me of this, and now being able to be out and start talking to our collectors again, one of the things that struck me over the years was how much these Christmas ornaments mean to people. Christopher Radkos tend to hold a special place in people's hearts. A lot of moms and dads will buy these ornaments, to hand down to their kids or as a gift to their children or a friend, or to each other. Or maybe it's to remind them of a special event in their lives, whether it's a new home, just getting married, a new baby, whatever it is, or maybe a place they visited and they bought an ornament while they were on vacation. But one of the things that's always struck me is, you've kind of become part of these people's lives. It's become, you're part of their tradition, and it's really nice to know that you've brought joy to people's lives. I'm sitting here designing these ornaments, and as I design them, I tend to feel like, I want to design something that puts a smile on my face because I feel it resonates through the ornament. And maybe when people see that ornament themselves, whether it's in the store or when they hang it on their tree, maybe that smile kind of resonates through the ornament and it brings out a smile on their face, and it reminds them of, happier times, or, the reason why they got the ornament in the first place, or, the holidays, spending time with the family. But it's nice to know that we're part of all that. And it just makes you feel like you're part of a much bigger thing. And, again, I'm really, really proud of the legacy and tradition that Christopher Radko has, and that I've been able to be a part of it, and a part of a wonderful team from, like I said, the people right from our customer service who, help our customers so well and answer all their questions and meet all their needs and make sure that they're happy. The people who are able to make all the ornaments get from Poland to our warehouse and now to our stores, to make sure all our retailers are happy and our collectors are happy. Our product development team that works so closely with me, who talk to our factories and make sure that all the production is going smoothly and the ornaments are, being made in a timely manner, and samples are flowing, and I get to see the pictures and see things come to life. And, our wonderful sales reps who are out in the field, who deal with retailers like yourself and make sure that all our stores and retailers have the ornaments that they need to make their customers happy. So it really is, a wonderful team that I work with, and I'm really proud of, being a part of it.
That's great. I'm going to ask, I got a couple questions for some of our customers in no particular order here. One statement, first and foremost, is, and I'm gonna talk through some of our customers here. So we got a great customer base. I couldn't be more excited, and certainly you guys talk about, a lot of the work. There's a lot of work that goes into these ornaments to take care of them and take pride in making sure they're boxed up and shipped. And Mary Gray had just made a comment. She's got a question, but one of her comments was, that she says, please tell him that we got a lot of comfort looking at our ornaments that help bring back the memories of our Christmases of the past during COVID. We couldn't celebrate with our extended family. So that was something that I think that you kind of hit the nail right on the head there.
That means a lot. Thank you so much. That means a lot. I really, that always touches me. And again, it's a real pleasure to be part of, their Christmas, and that really does mean a lot to me.
Her question she has, though, Mary Gray asks, ask Joe if the designer chooses every color used for each of their designs, or do they leave that to those who paint them? That's a good question.
That's an excellent question. Well, what happens when I create the illustration, sometimes, we'll have some little talks behind the scenes, and we'll say, ooh, I remember seeing this, a piece of pottery that had this beautiful blue, and, I love to match this blue on Santa's coat. And, what I have to do then is go to a tray of all these wonderful lacquers that we have on little tiny Christmas balls. So we have what are called Kaiser balls. And these Kaiser balls are actually made with little coordinating tags that actually will tell our factories in Poland exactly which lacquer to use if I'm looking for a particular blue, or our Christopher Radko Santas all have a very special red that we use as a Radko red. So that Kaiser ball that we use for our Radko red would have a very special number assigned to it. And I have a set of all these Kaiser balls in my studio, and I can look at them and know exactly the color I'm going to ask the factory to put on the ornament. And that way I can kind of have a better idea of what this sample is going to turn out looking like. And they also, the workshops, the factories in Poland, when they're creating the ornaments for us and painting the ornaments, when they see I've picked a specific red or a specific blue, they know, oh, this is what he wanted. This is what he intended it to be. And that way they'll be more successful in finishing the piece kind of like in the way I imagined it to be, and the way meeting the expectations I had in the design itself. And sometimes, you kind of think, all right, well, this is the way I designed it, and this is kind of what I was imagining. And then when you actually see it, well, maybe that color, that purple next to that green didn't quite come off the way I thought it would. And sometimes you'll make changes to the pieces as it progresses. But we do have a big palette of lacquer balls with, like I said, these Kaiser balls that have all their own specific numbers. That way we can tell the factories exactly what we're looking for, and makes this process a lot easier.
That's awesome. Bonnie has a question. She says, I have a Radko from a collaboration with Bath and Body Works years ago.
Yes, Santa in the bathtub by any chance.
She goes, can you ask if there are any plans of another retail collaboration? I don't know that you can let the cat out of the bag here, but
they're on the phone with me right now. No,
exactly.
All right. So yes, I remember that piece with Bath and Body Works. We've done lots of collaborations over the years. We've done a lot of exclusives for different retailers. We've done a lot of licensing pieces. We always love collaborating. We always love making special pieces for retailers or for certain brands, if we feel like it's a good fit. A lot of people might remember us doing work with Disney World. We worked with Walt Disney for many, many, many years. And then things change, people come and go, Walt Disney, and that stopped for a while. But all of a sudden, Walt Disney must have had somebody pick up the phone and ask us to create ornaments for last year, or was it this year? I believe it was their 50th anniversary for Walt Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the first time in so it was the first time in a long time that we did exclusives for Walt Disney World, and we did Spaceship Earth, the Tree of Life for Animal Kingdom, the Tower of Terror for Hollywood Studios, and of course the Castle for Magic Kingdom.
Oh, Tower of Terror. I remember that ride too.
Oh, that was great. I love that ride. Me and my younger son went on that ride, and it was absolutely terrifying, and I loved every second of it. So did he. He loved it too. But so we got to do that, and it was such a big hit, and it sold out in days. You could only get it at the park. So that it was great to be able to do that. And we're always up for working with other brands or retailers that we feel are a good fit. Maybe Bath and Body Works, we said, will come back around again. I know right now we have a great collaboration going with the Beatles. We have a great collaboration going. As a matter of fact, it's one of our most popular pieces. We're working with Elton John right now, and I know he's doing his farewell tour. So that's been huge.
We had the Cat and Annie one, I think we got this year. The Cat and Annie.
Yes, Cat and Annie, our sister brand. I work very closely.
Here's one of the Beatles ones right here.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's fantastic. I love that. There's great synergy between Christopher Radko, our brand, and Cat and Annie, which is also a brand under our parent company, Rash Industries. And I often will collaborate with Amy here and there on some pieces that she thinks that, oh, this would be perfect for Joe to help me out on. But Amy and Kelly do a great job working also with our CEO, Heather, creating a beautiful collection for Cat and Annie too. And there's great synergy between Christopher Radko and Cat and Annie. There's a lot of fun pieces in that line. I'm glad you mentioned them.
I got two more questions. One is as a product question. The other one's going to lead into more of the timeline on designing the ornaments from start to finish, which I think maybe we might have a video that will help us too. But this is from Mike Johnson. He asks, any chance you might have some more Wizard of Oz pieces? Some of the major characters were not in the original set, which I have.
Yes, the Wizard of Oz. Okay, well, we don't have Wizard of Oz itself, but we just recently established an agreement with the Warner Brothers company to do some licensing with Warner Brothers. So maybe Wizard of Oz might be in the pipeline. I believe Warner Brothers, I think, now own Wizard of Oz. I think they inherited all the stuff. I'm not sure. But I do know that from time to time, like Warner Brothers comes and approaches us to do some specific pieces, movies. I won't tell you which.
Right.
Won't tell you which, but there's some fun, exciting stuff coming out next year. But hopefully Wizard of Oz will come back around again. We'd love to work on Wizard of Oz. But you never know. I'm hoping that maybe somebody's a Willy Wonka fan. That could be fun.
Oh, yeah. I love Willy Wonka. So, my home base is Kansas. Did you know that, Joe?
I did not know that. There's no place like home, right, Sean?
Anytime I travel somewhere, people say, where are you from? I'm like, Kansas. They think I'm like out in the Western Plains in a wagon, with a horse.
What, you're not?
I'm like, Dorothy's my neighbor.
That's all right. When I say I'm from New York, people think I drive a cab.
Right. All right. So this is a question from Laurel, which may lead us into, after you explain a video that we want to share. But Laurel, one of our great customers, she asks, she wants to know the timeline for a new ornament to be produced. And so I think we also have a video maybe to share, but I'm going to go off your cue. I think her question is
Sure.
the timeline from, thought, illustration to designing all the way through production. What's that timeline like and how many people are involved?
Okay. Well, usually from the point where I create an illustration, so if I create an illustration, it's sent off to our factories. I probably could see a sculpt from our factories in Poland within a couple of weeks. So depending on whether that sculpt is approved and goes forward and gets made into the master mold and the mother mold, and you'll see this process when we show you the video, you'll see the whole process come to life. But once we prove the sculpt, it's made into a big cast iron mold, which begins the whole glass blowing process. Once the glass blowing process begins, we usually say it takes about 7 days from when they blow the glass and silver the glass to completion for each individual ornament. So, you have to think to yourself, every factory that we're, working with, they might be working on, I don't know, a few hundred Santas that day. So even though they might be working on a few hundred that all come from that mold, because each one is handmade, you have to wait for the lacquers to dry. So if they apply the red of Santa's jacket on day one, well, they have to wait for that lacquer to dry before they maybe start putting the color of Santa's gift bag on, because the last thing you want is the lacquers to bleed into each other. And also, when you're thinking to yourself, as you're putting all these lacquers on, you notice that a lot of our gifts have these wonderful patterns, and a lot of these patterns have glitter accents on it. So every step of this process has to be done by hand. It has to dry before they start moving forward. So even though we might have one of our workshops, our factories, the artisans working on many ornaments a day, each individual ornament, we say on average takes about 7 days from beginning to end to complete. So if you think to yourself, okay, I create the illustration, a couple weeks later, we see a sculpt, and a couple weeks after that, we might see the sample. We do about 300 to 350 new designs a year for our main core line. So it does take a bit of time to produce that entire line. So as I'm drawing, our factories are working and creating samples that we're approving as we're going along and making adjustments as we need to. And then I'm creating more pieces at the same time. It takes us about the better part, most of the year, to create our entire line. So I might start working with our product development team. And, you're asking like how many people are involved with the process. Well, again, we have a wonderful sales force, our sales reps out in the field, who they get a sense of what our collectors, our customers, and our retailers are looking for. And they'll provide our product development team, who I work with very closely, Steve and Chris. There are liaisons between the sales reps and also our vice president of sales, John. He'll get feedback from the sales reps as well. They'll provide a lot of information to me, what our reps believe our retailers and our customers are looking for, and help me kind of develop ideas, visualize ideas. We'll work collaboratively, brainstorm things that we're all kind of dreaming about that we think would be great for our line. So that kind of gets the ball rolling. At one point, we used to do a lot of things by hand, and we had many artists working with us in early days. And right now, I'm the last elf. I basically work to create these illustrations. So it does take a while. I had a artist I worked with for a long time. It was one of Chris's other original elves, and he's since retired. So it's just me. Maybe I might get an elf in training to help me out at some point. But right now it's just me, and I'm working really hard to make all your dreams come true. And I know what you're going to get for Christmas next year.
Yeah, I love it.
So I create these illustrations and, working with our factories to create this line and working with our product development team. And I would say it takes us pretty much from, I would say about January all the way almost up and through end of September, maybe into October to complete the line that's going to be in stores for the following year. So I already know what you're going to have on your Christmas tree next year. And I'm just almost about to start thinking about 2024.
All right, so this is one last question, and then Pete, maybe let's play the video.
Yes, that'd be great.
Got it.
Mary says this, and so this kind of leads into what you just said, I think, Joe. Is there can you give us a little hint on a couple of new ornaments that are kind of be rolling out in January? Because one of the things they're going to do with a lot of our customers is I'm actually going to take them live with us at market.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah,
that's very exciting.
So
that's a great idea.
I want to just kind of walk them through what do we do, how do we go about it, the whole process. And so I think this is perfect. One or two things that we're going to see without getting you in trouble.
Without getting me in trouble. All right. Well, here's the funny thing. When I'm designing ornaments, I get them all jumbled up in my head, to be honest.
Well, you said Elton John, right? So Elton John.
Yes. Well, we have Elton John, or we have yes, we do have a new Elton John coming out. We have an Elton John coming out that he's wearing his famous white jumpsuit with the big marabou fur collar that he had on. So
cool.
That will be coming out, and it does look pretty fabulous, I must say. And we do have more Beatles designs coming out. We actually have a Beatles design that is based on, and hopefully this won't be giving too much away, but just enough. And if somebody's really curious, they can go figure out which song I'm going to refer to in a second. We have an ornament coming out that is based on the most popular, the most streamed Beatles song. Okay, so there is an ornament coming out that is actually based on one particular Beatles song that is considered the most popular Beatles song, the most streamed Beatles song. And I won't tell you what it is. I'll leave it up to everybody else to
Everybody
figure it out.
can go look and ask that question. Go ask Google or Siri.
Yeah, exactly. And guess what? We have Santas and we have snowmen coming.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good. And you've got dated 2023?
And we do. We have dated ornaments coming out. Well, again, here's the God honest truth about when people will talk to me about what's your favorite ornament, or do you remember this ornament? There's so many thousands of ornaments floating around my head. I sometimes forget if I just did it, if I did it a few years ago, or I'm just thinking about doing it.
I can only imagine. I went through and picked some for our signed and dating, and then I've got I'll kind of let the cat out of the bag here. The bonus tonight, guys, I picked new ornaments, and the individuals that ordered the signed and dated, Joe is going to take the liberty. I've got a new set of ornaments that he's actually going to do personalization for. So not just sign and date. We have a whole new portion of our website that is going to be pushed out. You guys will get a link where you'll be able to see all these ornaments, and you'll be able to do your personalization on there. And so that was kind of the bonus value add. I want to appreciate Joe for that, because there's a lot of time that goes into, not just sign and date, but Merry Christmas, Mary, or the Smiths, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got some of those we're going to roll out. And so my point is when I went to try to pick some ones that I haven't shown, there's some ones I'm like, man, I didn't even know we had this one. And so I can only imagine, we have a big inventory, but you have a really, really big inventory.
Yeah. After a while, you can kind of forget, again, when you created something. I know, like the past year, we had that beautiful Santa with the Polish folk pattern on it, and some beautiful, fun Santa. Oh, one of my favorite Santas was here. I'm not sure if it was this year or the previous year, but I had a Santa that I called my COVID Santa. It was Santa wearing a red hoodie sweatshirt, jogging bottoms, and he was walking his dog. And that was pretty much what my life during COVID was. And it was like, my dog got so many walks. He was walking more than he needed to be walking. He'd be like, oh God, we're going for a walk again. I'm like, you're going for a walk. I need some fresh air. Come on. So that was a real special ornament for me, at least.
That is awesome.
Yeah, but again, one of the things that we were talking about before, how many people are involved with it. When I was saying about how I work on these ornaments now, one thing that has changed in 23 years, I think I said really quickly at the beginning, there was lots of us. The Christopher Radko elves, the artists working, creating the Christopher Radko designs. It was about, 6, 7 of us who were working on the designs with Christopher. But everything was drawn by hand and then colored by hand. We actually would have to photocopy the original pencil sketches, because if we changed colors or made a mistake or anything had to be changed, you'd have to scrap the entire drawing and start all over again. So we'd actually color the photocopies. But thankfully, one of the things I was really interested in was bringing computers on board to the art department and being able to draw digitally. So one of the benefits of doing our artwork now, and the way it's been for the last, many years that I've been working there since we implemented this, we've been able to create the line totally on computer, fully digital, which means even though I still draw the pictures, I'm drawing directly to the computer. I work on a drawing tablet. I work right in Photoshop, and what I do on the drawing tablet is happening right in front of me in Photoshop. So I tend to now rough all my sketches out right on the computer in color, and I'm able to get to the finish line a lot quicker.
Right. Sure.
Whereas, what might have taken me days to do before now takes hours to do. And that is one of the reasons why, thankfully, I've been able to continue working, on my own, designing these ornaments throughout the year, and being able to work so quickly because we're able to do it all in computer.
Well, this is a good segue. Why don't we play this video on how these ornaments are made, and then I'm going to for our customers that want to stay on, I'm going to show some of the ornaments that are going to be available for the personalization. Those will be live to all of you. They're going to be live on our site. We'll drop a URL on here, and then you should be receiving an email as well. We're going to have the next 48 hours that open for people to order those, and it's only going to be available to those that pre-purchase the signed and dated. But and Joe, you don't have to stay on for all these. We've been going on right about an hour now, but I will stay on and go through some of these. And but why don't we show this video real quick here, Pete? You want to go ahead and play the video?
There you are, the whole process. I don't think I can hear Sean. Hello.
There we go. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Perfect. I muted myself. I was just saying that was awesome. I want to kind of show some of these ornaments that I picked out, and I can tell you how hard it was for me. I kept sending Pete. I'm like, well, add this one, add this one, add this one.
Here was the funniest quotes I ever heard in all my travels. One of the collectors came up to me and said, Christopher Radko ornaments are like potato chips. I'm like, what? Oh, you can't have just one.
It's crazy because our family loves Christmas, but like Mary and some of our customers, I mean, they amaze me. I mean, some of these trees that they have and the time they put into all these ornaments and it floors me to even think about the time that they put into this. So I have a lot of respect for them. So I try to, the things that we're trying to do as a company, especially a lot in the ornament space, is we take a lot of pride in trying to do everything we can to make it a good experience. We're not always 100%, but we sure do try. But it just amazes me. Like I said, every time I grab an ornament, it's another. I'm like, man, I don't even remember. I've never even seen this one, but I ordered it.
I know the feeling, Sean. I know the feeling. Sean, I have to say thank you very much for that. What you just said there, the effort and time and care that you put into what you do to make your customers happy. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to all of us at Christopher Radko, and of course, Roush Brands,
Absolutely.
Our parent company. It means a lot to us because people like yourself, our retailers, and the collectors who buy from you. You make everything I do possible. If you didn't do what you did, and you didn't put so much care into what you did, and if our collectors weren't there year after year, excited to see what's new, what's coming out, because that's one of the things I always get a thrill seeing these faces come back year after year to say, oh, what we got new and special this year. You're the people that make this all possible. If you guys didn't do what you did, I wouldn't be able to do something I love to do. I wouldn't be able to do the job of my dreams.
Sure.
And I really do appreciate it. So thank you so much.
And we, like you said, we
customers.
can't do what we do if we don't have our customers. So it's we all have to work together, and that's what makes it so exciting. I'm going to pick a couple out here. I know you probably won't be able to stay for all of them, but
sure.
I picked a couple snow globes out because I don't know, I think they're really cool. And I don't know, this is one I kind of picked out. Let me see if you guys can see that.
Lovely. The Holy Family.
I'm going to turn, let me see if I can do this a little better, maybe. But do you remember this one? Let me do this. I'm going to blur my screen here.
Well, this is the reason why we do what we do. If it wasn't for the tradition of Christmas and where it all began, we wouldn't be here today talking about what a special holiday this is for so many people around the world. And we're so lucky to be part of this tradition. And again, this reminds us where it all began.
100%. That's why I grabbed this one first.
Yeah. What a great choice,
this.
Sean. What a great choice. And it's beautifully detailed, and it was beautifully executed. The amount of detail that's gone into that base, into the Holy Family itself, and the beautiful screen that kind of wraps around, that kind of frames it behind.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
The Holy Family is absolutely exquisite.
So this is one that we'll be putting on our site. Here's another one I want to bring you. This one's amazing, and just I'll be careful I don't drop this thing. So heavy.
Make sure you have a pillow below you.
My daughter and wife on this are probably gonna love this one, but man, look at this one, guys.
One of my favorites.
Oh my!
One of my favorites.
Look at that.
It's such a bright, fun, colorful piece. That just brings a smile right to my face. Look at the different colors in each level of that house as you're turning around. all the detail that goes into all the houses. And there you have Santa happily in the middle, the center of attention as he should be.
Yes.
Look at that. And the beautiful church over there on the side is so well made. There's such a fun piece.
And this comes with a
Little-
battery, I believe, that probably makes the snow
Yes.
globe work. I think. I
And
just don't have
yeah,
batteries.
we should get the blower going and get some music going there. And
Yeah.
and that's what I call a party.
Yeah. So I'll put some batteries in that later, and I'll do some video and shoot it out there on. But that one's cool. Let me show a couple other pieces I grabbed. I want to grab a couple finials. I grabbed this one. I'll grab this finial. Let me get it out of here real quick. Love this one. This is gorgeous.
Thank
that
you.
piece.
I'm glad you like that one. It was so much fun, instead of a reflector, what we decided to do for this. Again, here you go. This was a team effort. We were talking about, what can we do? That was different
Right.
from just putting a reflector in. And we remember doing a ball that had a snowman popping out of it. So, let's do a Santa popping out of the ball. And then below we'll have like a nice little Christmas scene, a little winter scene, and then a nice traditional Christmas pattern to kind of bring it all together. And
Love that.
yeah, it has like almost like has a vintage flair to it also.
Festive and
Enjoy that.
folksy finial. Love it. That one's cool. So we got that one. I've got one other finial. I actually showed this one the other night, but this thing continues to grow on me.
Oh, my favorite, the Yellow Submarine.
Needles, yeah, this
tell you-
one. I showed that the other night, but I'm like, I want to show it again just because I really love it. I think it's just got a lot of fun colors to it.
I don't know about you, but I'm a huge fan of that movie. I always loved the artwork that was in that movie. It inspired me at a young age. It honestly was one of my early inspirations to become an artist. I love the Beatles. I've always listened to their music. Huge fan of Yellow Submarine, the movie. I always love year after year where we try to kind of come up with something new for the Yellow Submarine. I remember we did the individual Beatles as their Sgt. Pepper versions in the movie in Yellow Submarine. We've had them inside the Yellow Submarine themselves, kind of steering the Yellow Submarine with like the glass cockpit in the front and everything. You can see right into the submarine. But that finial just has so much fun going on, and you can see all the characters from the movie in there.
That's what I liked about that one is like you keep looking at it and you find new detail.
Yeah.
How about this one?
Absolutely.
Periscope up.
Oh yes, there you go. That's yeah, and that's actually right. Yeah, you can see some scenes right from the Yellow Submarine movie. There, you can see when you're looking into the little portals there, and you see the faces staring back at you. And that's actually part of a series where we were going to do a new one each year. You notice there's a number 1.
Right. I was trying to figure out what that was. Okay.
Well, that was supposed to be the Yellow Submarine version of the 12 Days of Christmas. And that was number 1. And guess what? There'll be number 2. And then there'll be number 3. We'll go through them all.
So this might be a good one to have then.
Be a great one to have, and each one is going to have a special character as like the signature character that goes with that ball year after year. So that was the beginning of that series.
Love it. Let me show again, Joe. You can don't feel obligated to stay on. You can jump.
Oh, happy to.
I showed this one the other night, but I want to show it again. This one has really grown on me, and I love this one. This is the one into all good night.
Oh yes,
I love this one, and so that one's pretty cool. I had to put it on this one just because it's got a lot of room for personalization.
I was just about to say that one of the great things about that, first of all, it's the first time that we ever did the moon as kind of such a focal point. We've had Santa across the moon, and maybe it was a flat disc-shaped moon, like a pillow shape, but to actually have the moon in the round like that, and it was so beautifully painted by our workshops in Poland. And right there on the back is the most perfect place to personalize any ornament. I've never seen a better place to sign an ornament.
And that's
so
gonna
much room.
And you're like, This is the kind of one that you want to sign because it's easier, right?
Exactly. It's a great spot to sign right on the back of the moon. I could write almost a book on that.
Here's another one that I grabbed. I don't think I showed this one before. This one is the Rusty Christmas wreath.
Oh, yes.
It's kind of cool.
And with this, and then he's sitting there in his truck
Yep.
against the wreath there. And it's all, you know, it's one of those pieces where it's not only a wreath, but also you get a great Santa, and he's driving that cool vintage truck that we like to kind of have Santa appear in from time to
Right.
time. Sometimes he doesn't have his sleigh, but he runs outside and jumps in the truck, and maybe he's just driving these gifts down the road or something. He doesn't need to fly around the world for these
That's
deliveries.
right. So that one's pretty cool. I'm gonna grab one. I'm gonna grab one of my favorites that I just pulled. I've got all these stacked up in my office, Joe, in a big cart. This one
Yes.
here, man, I love this one.
Oh, yep, the hot air balloon.
Oh,
We love
man.
our hot air
Going
balloon.
to Holiday Heights.
Yes,
Man.
and you see Santa in there, and he's instead of a basket, he's sitting inside a drum. And there
Right.
he is. He's got his elf sitting at his side, waiting to help him, or maybe keep him from falling out of the drum. But I love that. It's fun. It's got all the Christmas colors up in the hot air balloon.
Right.
I love that each year we try to do a new hot air balloon. We try to think of, here's a new way of doing this. And I thought that was just a real fun piece that always brought a smile to my face every time I saw it.
And you
I
kind of
really
talked
enjoyed
about
that
some of
too.
the ornaments doing 2-part ornaments and things like that. This kind of
Yeah.
allows you to do that. Yeah.
That's our what we call a dangle attachment, where we have the crown that comes off the stem of one ornament, which would be the hot air balloon itself, and then leads to the stem of the next ornament, which is the Santa and the elf and the drum. So we use two connecting crowns to create a dangle attachment. So essentially, that ornament is really two separate glass ornaments that had to have two separate sculpts, two separate molds, two different glass blowings to actually create that one ornament.
Which hence the size and expense and just every time, all the time that goes into
Yeah,
that.
that's a lot.
How
A
about
lot
this
involved
one?
with those.
Gift juggling juggler.
How much fun is he? We had done a Santa like that previously, where he was juggling ornaments, and so I said, you know, everybody seemed to really love that Santa. Let's have a snowman, and he's juggling gifts. So
Right.
the fun part of that is, like, not only do you have these attached arms which allow it to be a little bit more animated, so those arms are actually separate molds and separate blown glass pieces that are fused onto the main glass body of the snowman. But then you have that the other gift up on top is actually a separate glass piece as well, and that wire that connects it all together to kind of create the illusion that he's juggling the gifts through the air. I tell you, what Poland's able to do for us and how they bring our ornaments to life, I'm always, as much fun as designing them is to see them for the first time brought to life like that, and they can see how animated those pieces actually are.
What about, I'm just going to show a few more here. This one here is
Sure.
the Woodland Walk Santa.
I love him and his buddy, the deer.
Yeah.
I always feel like, you know, Santa's looking at the deer almost like I look at my dog. You know, he's looking at him like, here's my best friend coming to greet me as I'm walking with my big gift bag and carrying all the presents, and he's coming with me as we head out to the shed where the sleigh is, and we're going to load up the sleigh, and he's kind of having a little conversation with him. You see, this is what I was telling you about earlier on in the night, where I said, you know, every ornament to me tells a little story, and each
Right.
one is like a character that comes to life. So in my mind, as I'm designing these, I'm telling myself a little story, and I'm trying to think, oh, what's going on inside this character's mind? What's going on inside Santa's mind? What's happening in this scene? And this is like a little snapshot of a scene from maybe a storybook or a movie or something.
This one here is the Frosty Family. And I grabbed it just something a little different, you know, with
Yeah.
little family. And Yep.
And it's always great that, if somebody has, kids in the family,
Right.
or, maybe it's a gift for somebody who just had a newborn, or
Exactly.
he has a child and just had another child. It's
Perfect.
great. Anytime you have, the snowman family, it's a great way to remember, your own family members, or as, again, a gift to somebody to remember, their kids.
Absolutely. You mentioned this one here I thought was kind of cool. This is the We're With the Band one.
Ah, yes, there you go. That's the Beatles, but they're dressed in their Sergeant Pepper disguise. So if people who know the movie, part of the movie is that they actually disguise themselves as the band Sergeant Pepper when they go to Pepperland and they're fighting the Blue Meanies. And yep, there you are in the back. You see the actual official logo for the Beatles, and it really jumps right off that heart. I always love that piece. That's a fun piece. They did a great job bringing those characters to life.
A couple of different ones. It might be.
We'll wait for you here, Sean.
Sorry. Man, I kept telling Pete, I'm like, we're only going to do like a dozen. And then I just kept.
Well, once you start, right, you can't stop.
Oh,
exactly.
It's terrible. This one here.
I know the feeling.
I saved this one. I didn't show this last night to our live stream because I wanted to have some of these that they hadn't seen before. That'd be good for personalization. I really fell in love with this one.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought him up. That snowman. They did such a great. Now here again, talking about the team effort that goes into making a Christopher Radko ornament. I only had to create that beautiful illustration that's seen at the bottom on the snowman's lower body, on the bottom of the ball there. You have that beautiful winter scene with all the homes and the trees and the snowy hills.
Mm-hmm.
I only had to do that once. But
wow,
our artisans in our wonderful workshops over in Poland, they had to paint it thousands of times to make that come to life for us. And they did such a beautiful job. Every time I see it, I appreciate all the craftsmanship and the skill that our artisans bring to these hand-painted ornaments. And look at all the detail that's involved with that. That is, I mean, that the bottom scene there is a work of art all in itself. And the fact that you get it on this,
and that's why I fell in love with it. I mean, anyone that understands design in general can look at this. This just didn't just go through, some sort of machine and get painted. I mean,
right.
This is done by hand, and
all by hand, hand.
So look at the bottom.
That is a beautiful piece. I'm so glad you picked that one, Sean. That's one of my favorites.
When I picked this one, I always try to pick. When I looked at this one, I'm like, I got to save it. My grandmother passed away many years ago. She was an artist.
Oh wow!
What amazed me was she would draw, and my wife. She always didn't want to make pies because she's like, I'll never be able to be like your grandma. I'm like, my grandma, she would draw scenes in the lattice.
Oh my gosh!
And I didn't want to eat them because I'm like, Grandma, what do you?
See, nowadays the great thing is, you could take a picture with your iPhone or your cell phone, and you'd have that pie, that decoration.
Now I'm just gonna dig right in,
and then you can eat the pie.
How about this one? Perfectly plaid Santa. This one really caught my eye. There's just a lot of detail to this one, and
well, that's again, when you think about all the detail that goes into painting that coat, and you said perfectly plaid. Imagine how much time is spent to make that plaid pattern come to life on his jacket, and he just feels like he is bundled up. Be out there at the North Pole, walking across the snow, and you know what? Santa looks cozy and warm in that coat. He just looks like, this is my favorite coat. I know it's going to be nice and warm in the frigid North Pole. I really think that's amazing, the job they did making that beautiful plaid pattern for us.
Here's another one that I like. This is another one that I thought was really cool. The Twilight Delight. I think I may have shown this one before, but I like the fact that there was so much room on this one that it's
perfect for signing. Perfect for signing, but also I love the European style flair to this piece. The long coat, the gold staff that he carries, but also the beautiful scene that is actually on the gift bag. So again, you have this gorgeous gift bag that has its own little vignette there with a little scene of Santa's workshop, and then you have Santa himself and the beautiful ermine pattern through his fur trim and everything like that. It's really a beautiful piece. And I love the vibrant, saturated ultramarine blue that's on the gift bag too. It's one of my favorite
When you just
colors.
look at the detail in the coat and the sleeves, I mean, it's just amazing.
Yep, absolutely.
Absolutely amazing.
Nice choice.
What about this one here? I pulled this one last night, and I was talking to our customers. I'm like, man, this is cool. So this is the Ringmaster Claus. I had to bring it back just because I think, again, for a child or even for someone who loves a circus, there's just something about this ornament that just a lot of fun.
Well, that's the thing. You look at it and you say to yourself, this is what it felt like to go to the circus at one point, when you had the elephants in the big top and you had the ringmaster, and that elephant, he just looks so happy. He's got his trunk curled up, like almost as if he's trying to come up and say, hi, Santa, I'm here.
That's right. Yeah.
And Santa's perched on high, and he just looks like he is, having his moment under the big top there and just kind of leading all the circus performers as he kind of rides along that elephant. Yeah, that was a fun piece to design. I really enjoyed doing that. It brings me back to my childhood.
This was another cool one that I liked, one for not only personalization, but it was fun. So this is the gingerbread snowman.
Yes, that actually one of our best sellers this year as well. Again, what's not to love about ornaments that remind us of all these cookies and treats that we love to have for the holidays? But even though he looks delicious, please don't eat him because he is glass. But he does have great spot on the back for signing as well. He's got a perfect place on the back there. But he looks like he's made with like beautiful white icing on him, which creates that snowman look to him.
Again, Joe, you can jump off whenever. I'm just going to go through these since I have them, and
I'm having too much fun, Sean.
Okay, so you're on the East Coast, so I'm going to go through and I always show all the ornaments to our customers so they like seeing them, and it gives them a better idea of what the ornament actually looks like. And then some of our customers like Mary, it's nice because she owns that one, and they can always chime in and tell people what they think about it. And this one is Festy Finery Santa.
Now he's beautiful, isn't he? And it's a very like a different palette for us as well. Usually, our coats, we try to kind of do something a little bit different and special with all our coats, and that deep, deep dark green there. And then he has the cape on the back that is perfect, like with that pattern on top. It just really, that gold pattern just really jumps off that deep dark red cape. And he has the kind of deeper, darker green coat below it. I mean, it's just a very elegant piece. I really like that piece a lot.
This one was a good one. I know I've shown it, but I thought it was really good just for, again, more personalization. Hats off to Christmas.
Oh, he's so much fun playing peekaboo underneath a giant Santa hat.
Right.
So I'm not sure if I'm thinking like, was I thinking that Santa was really tiny or the hat was really big? But either way, he was a lot of fun, and he just looked like he was going to bring a smile to a lot of people's face.
Yeah, he's cool. That was very creative. What about this blue? Tell me about this Santa here. Obviously, went a different direction with the color. I love this one. I showed one last night. I think I have it here, Emerald Santa, which I'll show in a minute. Tell me about this one. This one is
it's like a beautiful pattern on there where it's more like an ivory pattern, but it has that blue accent pattern that goes along. If you just turn that around a little bit there, and let me just, as you can see as you're going along there. Oh, actually, now I'm seeing it a little bit more closely there. I actually thought that was our one with the blue pattern there. That is.
I don't know if I'm going to say this.
Oh, that is the blue pattern. You know what, Sean? The light was playing havoc with me there. I was like, I thought that was the one with the blue pattern. It is.
Yeah.
So it's almost like again what we were talking about with the China pattern, and this actually if you ever see the beautiful decorative plates, the old kind of European plates that have those beautiful ornate patterns along the edges. And that was kind of the inspiration for that. So it's almost like you had the porcelain of the plate with this beautiful blue line pattern that kind of goes across the back of the coat.
I've got one more set of about 5 ornaments, Joe, and that's it.
Wow.
You want to
You
hang
got
on
through
to
all
me?
those already?
You want to hang on with me till the end?
Like I said, we're having too much fun.
I got about 5 more. Okay, perfect. So this one here, more traditional. I just wanted to go with something more traditional. Holiday decor. So simple.
How can you not love a beautiful Coca-Cola style Santa? He's what we call our Americana Santa. When you think of a traditional Santa Claus, that's him right there. And there he is with a wreath over his arm, and he's ready to kind of decorate. Either he's decorating his house for him and Mrs. Claus, or maybe he's bringing a wreath to your door and leave it on your door as he's dropping off some gifts for you. But he looks like he's all set to celebrate.
All right, so here's one. Last night we don't have a lot of these left, but we had a couple people. I think Mary Gray maybe have ordered this, but Emerald City Santa, I loved that one. I wanted to bring it back.
That is, I think the green on that is probably one of my favorite times we've used green on a Santa. Really bounces nicely, harmonizes nicely with the gold in his waistcoat. I really think that is, if you love green, you're gonna love this Santa. Some people, they kind of shy away from getting a green Santa for a green tree, but I know a lot of people have either these trees that have the snow tip frosting on it, or the trees are white. And then this Santa would just jump right off that tree. It would really bounce right off a tree like that.
My wife just got another new one that you're just talking about with the white tips and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think, you're right. And the crescent moon, man, this was another one that I love.
Oh, so much fun. You have this whole scene of him landing on the rooftop there and the beautiful Merry Christmas at the bottom across the banner. But I really thought that this is so well executed again. When I created this illustration, the initial design with the house and all the detail and the lights, and then you had the sleigh and Santa's dropping the gifts down the chimney, and he's going to be going down to place them around the tree. I said, you know what? The fact that they were able to execute it so well in relief like that and actually get so much detail and really bring that scene to life. They did a great job with that. I was really happy with it. There's a lot of great places to sign that on the back in between the snowflakes, or right on the bottom along the banner there in the back too.
2 more. Cookies for Santa.
Oh, what's not to love about that? Santa eating his cookies. How many times do you remember the night before Christmas leaving the cookies out for Santa and the glass of milk, and making sure when you came down the next morning that the kids only spotted some crumbs on the plate, and making sure that glass of milk was empty with a little lip mark on it to make sure they know Santa was there.
So I don't know if you did this for your kids, Joe or Mary, maybe for your kids or even Pete. My wife decided to take it further, and so she started to do the fake snow footprints fireplace.
That is fantastic.
Eventually, my oldest daughter caught on. She's like, "Well, there's not any snow here, so what?" I'm like, "Well, he had them on his boot."
See, that's the thing. When they get a little too smart, they start picking up on hints. All right, so hopefully there's no kids listening right now.
Right.
But,
I don't think there is now.
Well, I was just going to say, sometimes you can't get Santa himself to make an appearance at home for the kids, but the kids are really looking forward to meeting Santa. So I had Grandpa playing Santa for our kids for a long time. And one of the big challenges for my dad, because he's born and raised in New York, when I would say, all right, Grandpa, now you gotta pretend that you're the actual Santa, because the kids want to meet Santa. So let me hear you talk like Santa. There you go. Hey, ho, ho, ho. I'm like, no, you can't sound like Grandpa. and then he would go, ho, ho, ho. I said, no, you can't scare them either.
You can't scare them either.
Maybe don't
say anything. Maybe text it to him.
Exactly. So what do you got there? Oh, yeah, I see what you got there, Sean.
Yeah, worldwide
That's a
trainer. I
great
love
one.
this one.
There he is. Instead of going around the world in the sleigh, he's got the magical train, and all the reindeer this time are going for a ride behind Santa. They're going for a ride instead of having to pull the sleigh. They're getting the ride in the train cars. And look at all that beautiful glitter along the
Mhm.
globe there that really make that kind of sparkly ocean effect. But there's lots of great places to sign this right on the continents there, right on that green lacquer
Oh,
is usually
yeah.
where I would sign those pieces. But that's a fun design. They brought a lot of detail to that as well, and all the characters' faces.
Joe, I think I went through them all.
Wow. We did it, Sean.
We did it, man. We did it. We
We
did it.
did.
Joe, I cannot
I-
thank you enough. You did all. You're awesome. I know that this takes a lot of time. I know you're busy. I can't thank you, obviously, your company, and I've obviously had the chance to work with John and Jeff closely over the years, and we'll be meeting with Jeff again as we kind of go out to market.
Great.
I'm sure I'll meet with John as well.
Well,
But,
Jeff had
yeah.
so many great things to say about you, Sean. And I'm really happy that we were able to do this for you. And I know he's going to take great care of you, as will John and the rest of our team. We're going to do the best we can for you and for all our collectors to make each year Radko even more special than the last for them. Give you something to come back for, to look forward to each year.
That's right. That's great. Joe, wish you a Merry Christmas. Thank you again.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you
take
for
care.
all you do for us. I really
bet.
appreciate it. Merry
thank
Christmas
you.
to you and to all
Thank you,
your
Joe.
collectors. Thank you.
Thank you,
Great
Joe.
seeing
Appreciate
all.
it.
Thank you. My
Take care.
pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas. Enjoy.
Merry Christmas.